The long-awaited trailer for the One Piece live-action adaptation has finally arrived, and it did not disappoint. Well, maybe to some, but for me it didn't disappoint. Despite my eagerness for this release, I remained grounded in my expectations, but I must say that it appears the creators have done an admirable job staying true to the original series. Compared to other anime to live-action adaptations, this one looks like it will be both entertaining and faithful to the source material. The trailer is packed with so many exciting scenes and characters that it's hard to know where to start. I'm actually surprised of the response in the community too, being mixed. I was expecting a ton of people to call it straight trash, but I've actually seen some people say they have hope. So let's break down scene by scene, shall we? Before I do, if you guys could hit that like button, that would be great. I would really appreciate it. It would help get the video out better, and thanks. Let's begin. The trailer opens up with a great shot of Fuchsia Village and a captivating shot of Luffy, expressing how the sea has resonated with him since childhood as he approaches the Merry. His outfit is impressive, with the iconic straw hat looking well crafted and not at all cheap. While his shirt doesn't sport the classic all red look, it still looks great. And just so you know, he gets quite the outfit change just from what we've seen in this trailer. And these outfits are all inspired from cover arts and cover stories, and I'll try to include each one I've noticed and found art for online. This one is from this drawing of Luffy, which is really cool, right? In the next scene, we see Luffy on top of the Merry's iconic figurehead, a figurehead that looks like the Merry is on fucking crack. I'm not too big of a fan of how the Merry looks. It's scaring me just looking at her. The Merry should make me feel calm and comfortable. This is Merry. Eventually she will die. It's gonna be hard to feel bad for this. Luffy sporting an outfit that features overalls, and in the background we catch a glimpse of the Baratie, which has me really excited. I can't wait to see what the interior of this famous restaurant looks like in the live action adaptation. The trailer continues with a glimpse of Shell's town, and I must say that I am thoroughly impressed. The town looks exactly like the one we know from the series, and it's clear that the location, CGI, is top notch. Bear with me, I mean for the look of this town. But for the lighting, we tend to see this yellowish lighting throughout the trailer, and I'm gonna get on that later. Not too big of a fan of that. Next up, we get a glimpse of vintage Zoro, tied up in a scene that looks straight out of the manga or anime. I'm absolutely in love with Zoro's look. His outfit and appearance are spot on, and Makenyu's portrayal of the character looks impeccable. The green hair and 3 earrings are perfect, and just wait until you see the bandana later on. This scene also features vintage Luffy, sporting the classic red open shirt, the one that we all love, which looks fantastic. While images online showed Luffy without sandals, I'm personally okay with any changes that help the actors perform stunts better and make the experience more enjoyable, since Inaki took on the stunts himself. If you look closely at the background, you'll notice Captain Axehand Morgan's portrait, a neat addition that wasn't present in the anime or manga. Although we're all familiar with the statue, it's not located in this particular area, so there's no need to worry about that. But I appreciate the inclusion of Morgan's portrait, as it highlights his self-importance and desire to be perceived as a powerful man worth admiring. However, the portrait does make his jaw look like it's made of plastic rather than metal, so we'll have to see how that translates to the live-action portrayal of the character. In the next scene, we see Zoro engage in a thrilling fight with a mysterious character dressed in red. Although I couldn't immediately identify the character, I was captivated by the impressive swordplay and action. I'm confident that the choreography for the highly anticipated Zoro vs Mihawk fight will be equally impressive. To try and figure out the character's identity, I turned to Twitter to see other discussions about this scene, and it seems that many fans believe it could be the original Mr. 7 from Baroque Works, which makes a whole lot of sense actually, who unsuccessfully tried to recruit Zoro and was killed by him. However, I saw others speculate that it could be Kabaji from Buggy's crew, but it makes way more sense to me that this is the original Mr. 7. What do you think? The next scene is Nami Swan! Emily Rudd on point for Nami. You might have noticed that Nami is looking absolutely stunning in her vintage shirt. However, something seems a little bit off about her hair in one of the scenes. It's obviously a fucking wig. Now, I know wigs are common in the entertainment industry, but let's not make it too obvious, right? Thankfully, it looks like they fixed it in later scenes, and, you know, in this image right here, she actually looks pretty good. But I can't help but wonder why they didn't let her show off her beautiful natural hair. I mean, it would have looked amazing on camera. We also hear her talking about the Grand Line, where this season is most likely ending off with. She says how it's a treacherous stretch of ocean with bigger islands and bigger pirates. And next up, Oh boy, was I impressed from this bad boy. A look at the Lord of the Coast that takes Shanks' arm. Holy fuck, this CGI looks good to me. He looks terrifying and menacing and big as fuck. Can you imagine how we'll see an actual Sea King if we can get renewed for another season? I'm not prepared. The side shot was decent to me, but then we get the close up to its face, and I was sold. And Shanks is facing off against it. I'm ready. After is Alvita's ship, and it's accurate to what we see from the original. A battle's going on between her ship, and we see a barrel floating in the water. Luffy? Prepare yourself for this next shot, for this is the main character of One Piece. This is the god, the menace, the strongest pirate in the whole series. Give it up for God Buggy. I hated looking at this dude at first. I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw this and I was like, fuck, look how they massacred my boy. I can say now, the more I look at it, the more I understand it a bit more. My reaction is mixed for him. On one hand, he looks really bad to me in my mind. And on the other hand, his face is terrifying and he looks intimidating. Don't forget, Buggy was this character who was supposed to be a menace the first time we seen him. Sure, he was funny at times, but still, this is the same guy who stabbed Zoro up and almost made him bleed out. It's a creepy vibe, and I just have to see a bit more from the GOAT. And can't wait to see the actor portray him, and he gets points for the laugh we hear from this trailer. The upcoming scene featuring Zoro wearing his bandana is exciting, as it appears to take place after the original trio defeats Buggy and steals his treasure, or at least that's what I think. And the tension between Nami and Zoro is interesting. They both claim they are not part of the same crew while looking directly at each other. Although this scene initially put me off, it's worth remembering their complicated relationship from earlier in the series when Zoro's loyalty was solely with Luffy and Nami was still very wary of pirates. Then Luffy says he senses tension between the two, and I was like, bro, what? It seems so out of character for Luffy to sense tension between the two. He's not wise enough to pick up on these tensions in my eyes. Luffy would just simply laugh it off as they're bickering at each other. I don't know, it just seems like a weird shift in character, and there is some skepticism from me surrounding the translation of Luffy's lines in the show based on what we have seen so far, but I hope I'm wrong. This is just a 1 minute trailer after all, am I right? But don't get me wrong, Inaki's portrayal of Luffy in the live action series is great and captures the character's energy. But it's no secret that not everything translates well from animation to live action, and that's not his fault. I'm not trying to bash on Inaki at all. But this raises some skepticism about how certain aspect of Luffy's character will come across on screen. Could it be that some of Luffy's iconic traits won't work in live action, or do we simply need to see more of his lines to be convinced? It's a fascinating question that we'll know the answer to when the show comes out, I guess. Next is a shot of Garp's ship, and even what looks like a shot of Garp at the front of the ship. And yes, Garp is shown this early on in the story, only we didn't know he was Luffy's grandfather yet, and he was training Kobe and Helmeppo, remember? It's now time for Captain Usopp's appearance in the live action series, and he looks great. Despite some fans feeling hung up on his long nose, it's important to remember that adaptations often include small differences like these. It's all part of the process of bringing beloved characters to life in a new medium. So let's appreciate Usopp's new look and get excited for what he'll bring to the show. Jacob is gonna nail it as Usopp, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being one of my favorite actors on the show. Look at me, I'm saying that for so many people, like literally everybody, but that just goes to show you how good these actors are for their roles. Okay, as a fan of the One Piece series, I couldn't help but feel a tad disappointed by the absence of Sanji's trademark twirly eyebrow, and I know I'm not the only one, and also how his wig looked from this trailer. For the eyebrow, it's a key aspect of his character that ties into his Germa 66 roots, but shit, we need to see if we'll even get that far. And then when it comes to his hair, after seeing a key visual, just like how we saw for Nami's, I was relieved to see that his wig looked much better. I can't wait to see how Taz, the actor portraying Sanji, brings the character to life on screen. It's admirable that he put in so much effort to perfect Sanji's signature kicks, even turning down a stunt double. Respect. And don't forget him trying to also be a bomb-ass cook at the same time. I didn't spot him smoking a cigarette, but I have no doubt that we'll see him smoking a cigarette in due time. Alright, in one scene of the live action, we witness a dramatic moment where Luffy is seen drowning, and Sanji without hesitation takes off his jacket and dives in to save him. It's unclear whether this scene is depicting the events from the Baratie arc or Arlong Park. Because obviously during Arlong Park, Luffy's trapped underwater, and Sanji has to free him underwater. I don't know, it just seems more likely that this scene takes place during Baratie. an obvious change in the story. I can't recall Sanji having to dive in the water to save Luffy during Baratie though, so let me know if he does. My memory's becoming shit. We see Luffy stretching out his arm to deliver a powerful punch to a Marine. While the CGI used to create the arm may not be perfect, the punch itself looks impressive and sends the Marine flying with one hit, and I can see myself laughing at the scene if they do it right. The goal of One Piece has always been to make us laugh, and if the live action adaptation can capture the same comedic vibe as the anime and manga, it'll be a success. I keep imagining it having the same comedic effect as Kung Fu Hustle. How great would that be? In terms of Zoro's three sword style, it looks better than expected, but the real question is how his attacks will look when he slices through his enemies. Only time will tell. I have to point this out, by the way. So if you look here, Nami is also added into the scene, which suggests that the trio may meet up earlier in the live action adaptation than they did in the original storyline. And look, Nami has her staff. She's just swinging on Marines. Captain Usopp time. This shot looks fantastic. From the way Usopp looks down to the details on him with his slingshot, Jacob's portrayal of Usopp is highly anticipated. I just wonder if he'll wear Usopp's iconic goggles. It's also great to see that the live action is staying true to the original weapons of the characters. Rather than changing them to fit a certain aesthetic, this shows a commitment to honoring the source and keeping the story as authentic as possible. In another scene, we see Sanji kicking while serving at the Baratie with who I think is full body in the scene. I mean, who else, right? Oh, then the iconic pose of all five members stating their dreams with the barrel in the middle. I hope this scene hits just as hard as the source material and gives me the same goosebumps. This scene gets me angry as fuck looking at though. You know why? Can you believe that they actually show Luffy with armpit hair as he's raising his arms in excitement for this shot? It's absolutely unacceptable and it's all fine. I saw some really bad haters who noticed Luffy's armpit hair and was talking about it, and I'm just sitting here like, really? You went out of your way to call a live action bad because you can see the actor's armpit hair? In another scene, we see Luffy and Kobe on Alvida's ship, with Luffy finally delivering a punch to Alvida. Before the punch is shown, we see Kobe awkwardly moving out of the way, which perfectly captures the essence of his early character development. Kobe was originally portrayed as a shy and timid person, slowly coming out of his shell thanks to Luffy's influence. The actor portraying Kobe did an excellent job in this small scene, conveying his character's personality through body language alone. But I can't ignore this, another bad CGI attack incoming, and this time we can really see the stretch of Luffy's arm. Honestly, I don't know if it's as bad as I'm making it out to seem, or if it's intentionally done this way to capture the more goofier side of One Piece. I'm on the fence for that one. Moving on, Luffy says Gum Gum instead of Gomu Gomu no. While it may not be ideal for Luffy to say Gum Gum instead of Gomu Gomu no, it's understandable that the show needs to cater to a wider audience besides its own fans, and I don't see this as too much of an issue. My real concern is how the CGI will look when Luffy uses his attacks, and whether or not they will be convincing enough to suspend disbelief. Now a glimpse of Alvida's terror-stricken expression as she is hurled into the ocean by a powerful attack. I already know this scene is going to have me dying when I watch it. And us viewers get treated to a striking view of her iron mace and an impressive costume. Finally, I really appreciate how for this final scene, Luffy's comment to Zoro is about how pirates always have finishing moves with names. This cleverly provides a reason and gives a good excuse for him to shout out the names of his attacks whenever he wants. I was wondering how they were going to get around this, especially for Luffy. It's a common occurrence in anime and cartoons, but not typically seen in live actions where you shout out the name of your attacks. And given Luffy's childlike nature, it feels natural and adds a fun, playful element to the show. It's a great touch. I just noticed something. Fuck. Luffy appears to be without his scar on his face. This means that the show may not include the iconic moment when Luffy cuts his own face, which is a significant and an emotional event for his backstory. The scene represents Luffy's determination to make a statement and impress Shanks, and it's a defining moment in his growth as a character. If they did remove this, then I disagree with them removing it, and I'm gonna be feeling a little bit let down. Fun fact though, it's worth noting that even the original anime didn't show this scene, and it was only later included in a special episode. In my opinion, the One Piece live action series is looking to be a faithful adaptation. I've said it many times already, and I'm still looking forward to it. There's still plenty we haven't seen yet, like Arlong and Mihawk. I'm so pumped to see them. It's evident that the creators have put a lot of effort into the costumes and character designs, even taking inspiration from cover arts and spreads. That's a true fan. Unlike other live action adaptations, the series doesn't make drastic changes that could dishonor what the source is. Or at least that's what it looks like so far. The cast members have been well chosen with the help of Oda himself in the selection process. The on screen chemistry between the crew is also excellent, and the set design is visually pleasing. But I can also recognize some CGI effects fall short, and there's some small changes that people may not be fond of, and that's okay to critique. I'm hoping with the CGI and lighting critiques, maybe they could polish up some of these things and make it a bit better for the final product, which drops August 31st, by the way, a lot sooner than I initially thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be October or November. And yeah, about that yellow tone used for the lighting, it can definitely make the show feel a bit gloomy at times, at least that's what I feel. Whereas I imagine the One Piece world to be vibrant and lively, especially in the early parts of the series. Overall, while the trailer has its own flaws, it's shaping to look like a solid adaptation that we may appreciate. I would love to hear your thoughts on a One Piece live action trailer. What are your favorite aspects, and what areas do you think could use improvements? Have you lost hope, or are you eagerly anticipating the show's release? Are you questioning Oda's decision to greenlight this project? Let me know. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, give it a like and share it with others who may be interested. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to sub to stay updated on the latest news and leaks for the show, as well as future trailers and episodes. I'll cover it all. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to covering more One Piece updates with you guys. See you in the next one.